welcome back to the We Don't Know Stuff podcast.
Hey.
We're here in episode 14.
14, Brandon Ingram. Everybody's favorite. I don't know any other 14. That's a tough fucking number.
Hendo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Oh, man. It's just...
Hendo rocks 14.
Those are interesting numbers, though, in soccer.
Yeah.
That's
Real
weird.
interesting.
Anyways, off top. I committed a cardinal sin yesterday.
What?
I modified my top 5.
What happened?
Oh, no. Yeah, but I'm against it. It's against my religion. You know, so I wasn't going to break the rules, but sometimes, you know, the universe just takes over. I finally tried that Santa Barbara char from the Habit.
I told you.
Fuck.
I told you it's a game changer. It's not even just a game changer. It's a top 3 burger.
Yeah.
Officially.
Yeah. We went and got it yesterday while having a meeting.
Top 3.
And yeah, while we were eating it, we just knew. I knew I was eating a top 3 burger. Every bite said top 3. It just whispered in my ear. It was just like top 3.
Every bite.
Ah, man, that's such a good fucking burger. And the reason let me explain why it takes over top 3 too, is because it's basically, me and Nate talked about it, and it's basically the farmer burger, but on sourdough. So
Yep.
it's just like, well,
Delicious.
I mean, the only
Delicious.
debate I kind of had that I threw out there was like, what if you could just ask for the farmer burger on sourdough at Farmer Boys? How would that change it?
It could change it. It could change it. It could change it. I'm not gonna lie. It could change it.
But for now, the Santa Barbara char has crept into the fucking top 3.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a top 3 burger. Fuck. If you guys haven't tried it, go and try it.
The Habit.
Yeah. Oh, let's explain the burger again, right? It is 2 fresh ground beef patties, right? Okay.
It's essentially the farmer burger on a sourdough.
American cheese, mayo, pickles, lettuce, if you want lettuce. Nate says no lettuce. Sliced tomato, caramelized onions, and a fresh layer of some avocado on some sourdough. And you could add bacon.
Fire.
And you add bacon.
You can add bacon, and one thing we didn't add, but we could add as well, is sauteed mushrooms.
Fuck.
But I needed you to try it like
Raw first?
just
okay.
that way first.
That makes sense. But they fucked us on the ranch.
They did.
Yeah, so, hey, what's going on, Habit?
Yeah.
They gave us... Yeah.
1 ranch for 2 burgers and 2 fries. I was like, damn.
Yeah, they gave us
we
a
gotta
spit
share
wad.
this shit.
Anyway, since this burger kind of changed it up for me, I was like, I had tried the Habit before, and I guess I tried their basic regular burger, and it wasn't bad. It was a good cheeseburger, a double cheeseburger, whatever the fuck it is.
But it didn't stand out.
It was like I could just get a better burger at In-N-Out probably right now. Like that's probably used to be my litmus test, right?
Right.
Like if it tastes like In-N-Out, then why am I wasting the extra time and the money, right? Fuck that. I already know a burger like this. So, whatever, I hadn't tried it, but since this kind of changed my mind, I was like, fuck, this burger's been hidden on this menu for this long? How long has this burger been around? And it turns out it hasn't even been around that long.
Makes sense.
In 2013, this was the vice president of marketing over there said that they had to start promoting it because people were ordering the regular burger with avocado added to it and the fucking sourdough bread.
So it's like, we need to just make this.
Yeah,
ourselves.
they were like, dude, everybody's switching up the order. And I guess since you can modify, hey, what if we do that to Farmer Boys? We just go to all the Farmer Boys and change up that Farmer burger to a sourdough.
That's crazy.
But
yeah, that could work.
But anyways, they had to change it. They had to add it to the menu. So, and they just started promoting it, like doing it promotional in 2013.
Right.
Like they were just bringing it out like the McRib or some shit, or like the fish fillet. It was only out for like a select period of time, and then they would take it back.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. And they named it Santa Barbara Char because the Habit was opened in Santa Barbara in 1969. Summer of love, people. Summer of love. Must have been some fucking hippies, dude. They were getting shroomed the fuck out and high.
Bomb-ass
And they
burgers,
were like,
though.
yeah, man, we should sell these fucking burgers, man.
Bomb-ass burgers.
No, but they made a good burger with that sourdough. But the people made it. Let's be clear. Not the Habit. The people spoke. The people spoke and made that fucking Santa Barbara char happen. So they should just name it the People's Char. That's what I'm gonna call it from now on. Even when I order it.
Interesting.
And if they ask, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, the Santa Barbara char."
The People's Char. Get the fuck out. They're gonna be like, get the fuck out of here.
They get the People's Char.
They're gonna be like, you're gonna pull up and they'll be like, is this your first time here? You're gonna be like, nah, give me the People's Char, ho. They're gonna be like, what the fuck?
Oh man,
The fuck is that?
it might work. It might work. You never know. You gotta try this shit. Oh man. Anyways,
That's funny.
Anyways, you're into comic movies, right?
Yep.
More than me, at least. But and I'm not really on that whole DC bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of it. I don't know if you are. How do you feel about it, actually?
The DC cinematic universe?
I don't even know what's the difference. Just DC movies are terrible in general.
Well, there's
why.
the cinematic universe, which is like what we see: Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, those kind of movies. The Justice League stuff, and then
That shit all sucks. To me.
And then there is DC's animated movies, which are fire.
Oh yeah,
for the most part.
DC's been making
Those are
some
like
great animated movies
90%
for
of those are
years.
fire. Like 9 out of 10.
Who pushes those out? Who produces those?
Warner Brothers.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That makes sense.
Yeah, like when you go onto Warner Brothers lot too, it's like there's a whole building. Like when you first come in onto the right hand side, like right past the guard booth and everything, like right when you first walk in, on the right hand side it's just Warner Brothers Animation.
There's like a whole
and then
Batman museum.
so like
there
if you
and
go,
shit.
you're going straight in, you pass the guard shack. To the right is Warner Brothers Animation.
Yeah.
And then to the left is like this big kind of like grass field. Almost looks like a park, but obviously it's not a
Okay.
park because we're in the middle of a
I mean,
we're in the middle of a studio lot.
for a
and
lot.
then behind it looks like buildings or whatever. But as you get closer, you realize like, hey, in the middle of the grass there's a fountain, and those buildings back there aren't really real buildings, right? And then as you get even closer, you're like, oh shit, that's the fountain from Friends. So it's like
that's fucking hilarious.
So it's like you see the fountain from Friends, and it's like the whole little studio backlot and shit. But anyway, that's right there next to the Friends fountain is Warner Brother Animation. So that's where they're doing all the dope DC animated movies, I believe.
No, all the DC stuff has always been pretty dope. I like it.
But as far as their cinematic universe, I mean it's very hit or miss.
What do you feel like it's trying to do, though?
Too much.
The obvious answer.
I mean, too much.
Fucking much.
So it's trying to do too much. It's trying to do too much and not enough at the same time, if that makes any sense. Like they're trying to go way too hard on these big, crazy scenes versus like very good storytelling.
Like extreme.
Like if you take the Christopher Nolan Batmans, right, and you compare it to what we got now in this Justice League and everything, like if you take a look at Nolan's Batman movies, the emphasis is on the story, right, and how that plays out, and obviously how it would relate in a modern world, but how that plays out, right?
Yeah.
When you look at these modern ones, the more recent ones, it's really they're just trying to like wow you with special effects, and
It's like one big special effects fucking wet dream,
then-
pretty much.
exactly.
Yeah,
and
like, it just-
and then at the same time, it's like the special effects don't even look good.
yeah, well,
Like
no,
the
especially
trick
when
with
you're pushing
special
it like
effects,
that.
the trick with special effects is to always, it's to fake the audience, to fool the audience.
Well, yeah. that
Not
was
to
always
take the
point.
audience into some virtual CGI world that makes absolutely no sense. I mean, even to basic physics that your mind understands half the time, it doesn't make sense. Like you don't need to be like a crazy, physicist or anything to understand like
This is
basic
shit
physics
that
your
your
body
body
and you
computes
understand.
just to
Yes,
keep you alive.
exactly. So like you don't need to have an
bro,
understanding
this
of
is
it, but you
fake.
know when you're watching it, it looks retarded. Like it looks so weird. And for me, I think that like it's very hit or miss with those, because it's a lot of times just one big CGI shit show.
To me, it's 100% miss. It feels like the Transformer effect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's
like,
a good way to put
man.
it. It's like the Transformers.
I can't.
But you know, there are some little gems in there, like, of course, because you know they're still working with top talent. They're still, you know, big time studios. So there's gonna be some little bit of gem in there. And like when I look at from the Superman movie to now, man, everybody gave the first Superman shit. Like everyone's like, man, that shit was fucking terrible. Like, yo, like they've just been going downhill. They haven't been going uphill. They haven't been getting better. Like if you look back, like their peak was the beginning, and that's not very good. And the only reason why Wonder Woman
Superman movie wasn't that bad, actually.
Well, the only reason why Wonder Woman hit too is because it was like the first female superhero movie. It had nothing to do with how good the movie was. Like,
right.
I mean, as just a throwaway comic book film, like it was cool. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I was able to sit through it and enjoy it. Like I wasn't like
I couldn't enjoy it.
I wasn't because I always enjoyed like old history, like shit that takes place in different times.
Right.
So I like all the set design, the you know, the costume design, just the acting and how detailed it got. Like, so there's a lot of things I like about it, but obviously the story was trash and whatever.
Well, it's kind of the same way like I like Akira. I like it for its visual presence and what it did to inspire other visual guys later on in the film industry. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, whoa, when I see all that influence in Akira, I love it. It may not be the greatest story, right? It's just kind of like, it's not even really a story, right?
Yeah, that shit's whack. That shit is
it's like whack. It's like a paragraph of a book, right?
That shit is super whack. And if anybody thinks that shit is dope because of the story, like you're tripping.
No.
I get the visual part of it.
That's a total
that
visual
cool.
effects
like,
masterpiece.
That shit's dope, but
in animation, for sure.
But that shit is whack. Super whack story.
Yeah, so.
But I guess most of those animes are super whack story too. Anyway, it's always about the animation more than it is about anything else.
The animation is. Really...
And then if you read those like comics or the manga, and you
unless we're talking about Miyazaki films, that takes it to a whole nother level. That's like straight up storytelling with nice visuals. Just an overall just great artist. But yeah. So, what do you think about that new Joker film? With Joaquin Phoenix, that's gonna be DC, but I'm kind of confused because how is it not Jared Leto? Like, how did they decide to just split those worlds? Is there ever gonna be a Batman in the Joker film? What the fuck?
They just take place in alternate universes.
So
just like the comic books, how you can have Batman die in one comic, but he's alive in another, right? Or Batman, or Bruce Wayne dies in the alley, and his dad becomes Batman. Right, like those are all those different storylines. It's just the same with this. It's just an alternate universe.
So that's what they're doing.
It's gonna probably be confusing for just average film goers. Like, wait, how does this tie in, or how does it not tie in?
How come we have two Jokers? Pretty much. Like
and then, for what I understand, like, it's labeled as a crime drama thriller, but like type of film. Like, and when I think of crime drama thriller, I think of like Heat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking of like crime, drama, and thriller, right? Like, I don't really know how far. I haven't seen any trailers. I don't even know if there is a trailer yet.
No, I don't think there's trailers, but they've released some pictures.
I've seen the pictures, and they're kind of like
doing little leaks. You know?
They're kind of whatever. And then I understand
kind of like ambiguous still.
I understand it takes place in a different era too.
It takes place in the 80s. It takes place in the 80s because it's taking directly after the Killing Joke graphic novel.
And then
basically an origin story.
I do know that is that mine? What the hell? Like, why are you even playing? There's nothing here playing. Oh yeah, my bad. What I do know is that Robert De Niro's in it, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, he's in it. I forget what his role is in it.
The only thing that I have, the only issue that I have with it is how many crime drama thrillers has the director done?
None.
Okay. and like
He's a comedy guy.
He's mostly known for comedy.
Yeah, he's a comedy guy.
So I'm not saying that he can't, turn another page and do something different, right? And who's to say this isn't his calling, doing a movie like this? So, but I'm just trying to say that obviously it's going to be heavily comedic.
Yeah, but he has the screenwriter that was that did 8 Mile, that wrote 8 Mile, and did what else? Fuck, he co-wrote the Fighter. Yeah. So his screenwriter's all right, but there's been other comedy directors that have transitioned pretty well. I think comedy directors are the ones that transition the best.
I think so too. I think they can. I think at least for the most part, at least makes their comedic parts of their serious films better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's for sure. Their beats are better in terms of
and maybe
jokes,
they try to not too hard, right? Because they're already comedy. Like that looks corny to them the way it looks to us. Maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe there's that. Maybe there's that because they're looking at it like us. Because I mean, I don't know if you enjoyed The Hangover when it came up, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny.
It was okay.
Whatever, you know.
I mean,
it was
for me. It's just
what it
was.
was. Yeah, it was what it was. Right, but it was just a stupid thing to throw on in the background, and it'll make you laugh every once in a while.
Yeah. Old School was tight. He did Old School and Road Trip. They were cool.
Oh, see, those are classics.
Those are cool.
Road Trip is a classic that's kind of just hidden.
And then War Dogs was all right. So I'm assuming it's going to have a feel like War Dogs. I'm assuming it'll have that feel. Something similar to that, but obviously it's got actual lore to dig into.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is based, like War Dogs was based on a true story. So, I mean, yeah, they have creative freedom, but they're still based on a true story. Loosely, but still.
Right.
And back to your point about how, comedians or comedy directors can really transition very well. Like, for example, Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your prime example right there for that point.
Yeah, that's the greatest example right now, currently, for sure.
So, I don't have high expectations for this film based on a lot of different reasons. Obviously, one is it's a comedy director coming in and doing a comic book film. I have no issue with that because honestly, the DC universe could use a little bit of comedy.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have any comedic relief, like not really at all.
Yeah, that's true. It's very stale.
Yeah,
it's very stale.
I mean, it's action, boring drama, or fucking stale comedy. So it's like, yeah. So like, it could be a breath of fresh air to the DC universe, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I don't have high hopes for it or high expectations. So if it hits and it's good, dope. If not, then oh well. I need to see a trailer so I can get the tone and the feel and the vibe first before I like decide whether it's one of those. Well, but before I decide whether I'm gonna go spend my money and watch it in the theater or just wait till it hits Netflix or whatever.
I mean, one thing that I do like about it though, that it's reported to be only they're only gonna spend $55 million on it. So that gives me hope that at least, Well,
what that makes me believe is it's not going to rely heavily on CGI.
Right. It gives me hope that it's going to want to care a little more about story. Just a little more. And that might be a good thing. It might be a bad thing. That's a wait and see, but it makes me feel better that it's not like $300 million for a Joker movie, because then it's like, fuck, man.
I feel like De Niro wouldn't sign on.
You know what I mean?
I feel like De Niro wouldn't sign on for something really terrible, especially in the comic book shit.
Yeah, neither would Joaquin. Supposedly he was offered the Doctor Strange, and he didn't want to do it because it was a blockbuster. But that makes sense for Joaquin. Like, he wants to be that hipster dude that's just doing like...
I think he just passed on it because he didn't want to do it.
He probably would. Honestly, I don't even think he would have been a good fit for it. He doesn't even sound right.
I like what they got. I like how it's set up now.
Okay, but do you like him for Joker? Do you like Joaquin Phoenix for Joker? How do you feel about that? Just that directly.
I think Joaquin Phoenix is an excellent actor. And I think
this is starting bad.
No, I mean, I think he's an excellent actor. In fact, like, when I was young and when Gladiator came out, I think it came out like 2000 or something like that, right? Maybe
Yes.
2003, the latest. But
Yeah, sometime around then.
I remember when Gladiator came out, and then I seen it, a couple times or whatever when it came out. And man, for a long fucking time, I hated Joaquin Phoenix, and like,
just based on the character.
well, then like as I got older and like I actually started getting into film production and understanding like acting, directing, et cetera, like just actually how to make films and movies. Like it one day it just hit me out of nowhere. It was like, yo, like I don't hate Joaquin Phoenix. I hated his character. And that's how good of an actor he is. For years I hated him,
he's
believing
really
that
good.
was him, but
Crazy.
that was the character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I believe he's a great actor, and I think he could pull it off.
It seems more Heath
I
Ledger,
think-
to be honest.
yeah,
Like it's going towards
right.
more that direction again.
I think he could. I think he could pull it off. I think he'll do a better job than Jared Leto, but
do you think that's Jared Leto's fault because
No.
it was not his
I
own
was just
movie?
about to say, no,
Yeah, that kind of
no,
wasn't his own movie.
and not even just that it wasn't its own movie. It was just a weird rendition of the Joker that they wanted for that movie.
Since we're speaking about Jokers and there's about to be a seventh one, do you think you could name your fucking top Jokers in order? If I can help you out. Well, fuck, I forget the one from the original one, the 60s.
I mean, I'll give you my
What's the
top
one?
3. I'm not gonna go into ranking the whole 7. I'll give you my top 3 because this ain't a top 5 episode. So, number 1, I got Heath. Number 2, I have Jack, and number 3, I got Mark.
Wow.
Mark Hamill. That's Luke Skywalker. Everybody. He did the Joker for the Batman animated series, and a couple animated films as well.
Wow.
So that's my 3.
That's your top 3?
Yeah.
My top 3 would have to be fucking Jared Leto.
What the
Fucking
Dylan, and Dylan.
Oh,
Because I
man.
spit hot fire.
Nah, to me it would have to be to me I would just put Jack on top for me, and then I would put Heath and Mark. Yeah, that's how I would have them.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
It's either Jack or Heath at the top anyway.
I did also like the Cesar Romero from the 1960s shit. He was a legit Joker, but he looked exactly like the
Yeah.
comic book Joker. They made him look
because
legit.
that's what they wanted to make it look
Yeah,
like.
but Batman didn't look swole. He looked Adam West.
Well.
in a fucking spandex.
But back then I don't think they weren't really at that time they weren't just getting swole dudes to get swole dudes. That didn't come along until later on.
Exactly, but that's why the Joker was perfect.
Oh,
Like
makes
because they could make him happen already.
Yeah.
And he looked perfect. I mean, he basically was the staple look.
Like,
after
what
that, they all
pisses me
did
off is like Adam West, like, you're playing a superhero. Like, why didn't you even work out like a little bit? Like, do some sit-ups or something. Like,
Because he was on vacation in Palm Springs.
they should
and
at
shit,
least
Vegas.
they should at least made like one of those fake 6-packs to just put underneath the costume. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Built in little pads.
His
built
ass
in.
wouldn't have been able to move.
Shit.
Oh man. So yeah, I guess it's a wait and see until that trailer comes
Well, I mean,
out.
yeah. So what do you think? You're just gonna wait like me and just wait for the trailer and then make a decision on? Because I'm gonna watch it. Honestly, I'm gonna watch it, but my decision is whether I'm gonna go watch it in the theater or I'm gonna wait and watch it at home.
I like that it's inspired by The Killing Joke, but they already tried to make The Killing Joke a movie, and it was very disappointing. Very disappointing. So,
Well, it was an animated movie, so
right, and I like that this is kind of playing on that and kind of going to that for its origin story. It kind of intrigues me a little bit more. But because I like the writing from the graphic novel. Obviously, the graphic novel is great. That's one of the greater graphic novels of all time. But I don't know. It's just DC worries me.
My
For
question is though, and I know they're not gonna tell us because we're gonna have to watch the movie for this part to find out. But just speculating, what do you think, or do you think that Batman will pop up?
I don't.
No,
No, I
it's
don't.
just gonna be standalone Joker.
Yeah, because they're not ready for it. And I think that whole like Affleck Batman is up in the air. Like they don't know about him.
Yeah,
He's
and he don't care.
Yeah, and he doesn't care,
Cap,
right?
Affleck could just keep it moving.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like he's good to go. Like he don't need that.
Right. So.
And the homie who does Superman, I forget his name, Henry Cavill. He's doing the Witcher series for Netflix, so he's on his own mission too right now.
Yeah, they're done. They don't want to, like, these actors don't want to be tied down to these crazy contracts anymore, I don't think. It's crazy.
I mean, I think...
If they're already big, I guess.
I mean, honestly, like, I don't think it necessarily matters on the contract, really. Like, everybody wants to get paid.
Yeah.
Right? And if you could get in a big budget movie that's going to get you paid for the rest of your life, like paid for the rest of your life, like you'll be able to, like you could just stop acting after that movie and you'll still be paid for the rest of your life type shit. The comic book movies are the way to go because they're bringing in billions per movie.
Right.
But the thing is like nobody wants to get stuck in a bad franchise.
Of course.
Right? Like everybody's down to be in the fucking Avengers. Because that shit is fire. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even as corny as it is, it's still fire.
Yeah. No. You make it on an Avengers movie, you made
it's
it.
Rap.
You made
it's
it
a rap.
Yeah.
It's a rap,
But
homie.
you don't want to show up on that Green Lantern movie. You know what I mean?
Exactly, right.
You show up on the Green Lantern, you're like, fuck, man. Like,
exactly.
I'm on a superhero movie.
Exactly.
Which one? I ain't watching that weak shit. Call me back later, son.
But that's the thing. Is like you don't want to get stuck in a bad franchise. And that's kind of like, I'm worried about Jurassic Park, man. They're killing it, like in a bad way.
Well, yeah, that was gonna
murdering
happen.
it. They're murdering.
That's why I didn't want nothing to do with it when it came back. I don't even care if the first one that came back was decent. Like I just didn't want nothing to do with it.
It was decent though.
Because Jurassic Park is too special for me.
It was decent. Like what's tight about the new one, or the first of the new Jurassic World, is just all the way up into the point where shit goes bad. Right? Like everything up until that point is somewhat corny, but as an adult now watching it, like it's like wow, like John Hammond's dream finally came true. So it's like that good feeling, right? And you're like, wow, you can actually see the park and action, people there, like damn, like this is how like I kind of imagined it would be as a kid, like if it popped off, right?
Right, like if they built it,
and then
they didn't leave you with that element.
And then everything goes bad, and then it just turns into the regular bullshit monster movie, right? Like nobody can, like even when the shit turned bad in the original Jurassic Park, like man, it was just so good still
because it broke off into like different. It branched off into almost different adventures by the different victims that were trying to escape. All these different things
popping off, and then this shit is just like, man, like I feel like they're trying too hard to, like, some people will say they're trying too hard with the callbacks. You know what I'm saying, to the original franchise, right? Like I get that. Some people just want to move on and whatever. That's what I enjoyed.
That's what's gonna happen on these reboots.
I enjoyed the callback, and there was some good comedic relief. But it felt like it didn't feel like Jurassic Park. It felt like a comedy monster movie. And that kind of shit pissed me off. Because, like it felt like they weren't even taking it serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were just like, they knew how fucking stupid it was. Like, that they were doing this. And they just were like, fuck it, let's just see how stupid we can be. Like, let's mix a T-Rex DNA with human DNA, right? And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like
so they brought
mix it with a raptor.
Once you bring in
you're like,
yo,
y'all, y'all trying to do way too much. Like this ain't the Sci-Fi Channel. We already talked about that. This ain't the Sci-Fi Channel, homie.
These are the poor kids that grew up watching the Sci-Fi Channel.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why
what happens. Poor influences.
But that's what worries me about too much comedic influence in something that should be serious.
Of course.
Like I get the comedic relief because almost every film really needs that, at least a little bit. But it's like, yo, like it doesn't have to be a comedy. Like Jurassic World felt like a comedy. And then the new Jurassic World 2 or whatever, that shit was just absolutely terrible. Like the only reason why I watched it all the way through was to make sure I can criticize any little part that I wanted.
Oh my god. What was wrong with it? What was
Fucking everything. Okay.
Like, how does it
So-
start? To walk me through.
I mean, it basically starts off as like everybody's gone from the island or whatever, and then there's a bunch of dinosaurs on the island. Obviously, they're all out of their cages now, and they're like, you know, it becomes like
like
before,
the legit Lost
right?
World,
right?
Lost
Okay,
World, right?
and then so they're like, damn, like this shit's going on. But what happens is now the volcano on the island's gonna erupt. Now there's a fucking volcano on this fucking island.
They built the theme park on a volcano.
Yes. So the fucking volcano
Yes.
is going to explode or whatever. So they're like, it's going to erupt. So they're like, man, we need to rescue the dinosaurs.
Oh, great. PETA stepped in.
Pretty much. Like,
So Dita.
Oh, okay.
Man. All right. So they step in to save dinosaurs, and then
so
what happened?
fucking Andy from Parks and Rec got to go back to the island and shit and go save Blue, the raptor from the first movie, who was like his little baby.
Yeah,
he raised from a baby, right? So he's gonna go back and save Blue. And the thing is, the reason why they're going back to save him instead of just saying, because I think at first, I can't remember, but I think at first he was like, okay, cool, like it's gonna go, then we don't have a dinosaur problem anymore, type of shit, right? And yeah, that's a good point.
Like super logical. Like, yeah, I'm thinking straight. Wow, I must have had a fresh cup of coffee.
Like, let's just let the Earth figure this out for us. You know what I mean? And but the only reason why he went back is because like the rival company of the company that set up Jurassic World is going back to get the DNA, and it's the whole fucking
wants to create fucking T-Rex cyborgs, and so
exactly. So they want to use it for fucking military purposes, etc.,
so they're investigating.
So this fool's going back to get the fucking to save the fucking raptors and shit, and then the fucking volcano explodes while they're there.
And so
you're thinking
escape,
while you're watching this movie, you're thinking, okay, this movie is going to end.
I hope he escapes the lava on the back of the fucking raptor,
man,
just riding that shit.
It's the dumbest shit, man. Like they jump off. There's a scene where they fall off the cliff and into the ocean, and then all the fucking dinosaurs are like on a stampede, like not a herd of fucking rhinoceros, like not a herd of brachiosaur, like I mean, a random assortment of fucking dinosaurs, like. In Jurassic Park, they showed like the whole stampede of fucking whatever those fucking goofy bird looking.
Well, how most likely those animals would have grouped or something, right? Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? Or they show herds of fucking brachiosaurus and shit like that, right? One hunting T-Rex, whatever, right? I get that, right? But in this shit, it was just like everybody, like the whole squad pulled up. And everybody's running down this mountain.
It's like somebody just opened up a bag of gummy bears all fucked up.
But
and
my
they just
thing
flew
was
everywhere.
My thing was this island is pretty big, right? It's a pretty big island. Why are all the dinosaurs in the island running down this same fucking pathway at the same time? Like it doesn't make no sense. Yeah. But anyway, so you see like all these fucking dinosaurs on this stampede, right? All these different types. They're coming down the fucking mountain toward the cliff, and these dumbasses are jumping off the cliff too. Into the water and just dying in the ocean and shit. Like stupid. Like it just is like cool. Okay, like, and you're like, yo, like the whole movie is building up. You're thinking like the movie's gonna end with the fucking volcanic eruption, right? No. That was just the fucking second act.
But there's more.
That was just the second act. We still got fucking like 3 more acts to go. Like this movie is stupid. Fuck. This movie is so stupid. It's like 2-3 movies in one in a compressed fucking short time frame. Like it was one of the most annoying fucking sequels I ever seen.
Spoiler alert.
Nate's rant.
Nate's spoiler alert. Nate's movie recaps. That was a great recap, by the way.
Fuck
that was a great recap. Like I could see it all. I saw how shitty it was.
That movie was very irritating.
Flaming shit pile. The movie. Interesting, but that's why I just can't give those reboots a chance. Like I'd rather just live with the memories of the old shit. For me, like, I get it.
That's why I worry about putting too much comedy in like something.
I get
that
why
should
the
be
nostalgia drives people back to those too, though. Because when I do see it come up, like don't get me wrong, I'll watch the trailer. I ain't gonna not watch the trailer. It's fucking free, right? Watch the trailer and I'm like, nah. But I like it because it's like, ooh, let's see what like you said, when they show the park in the trailer, it's like, cool, I get to imagine that world for a second that they did build it. Yeah.
You're like, damn, that shit's dope.
That's cool. But I know that if I watch a movie, then I'm going to be disappointed about that image. So I'd rather just leave that imprint and just walk away. Maybe I'm just more of a trailer watcher now. Maybe I just watch all my movies through trailer form.
I mean, and then the way trailers are edited nowadays, you pretty much are watching the whole fucking movie.
How do you watch your movies?
And what I don't get, too, is why you release 6 different trailers.
Oh, man.
Just release one trailer. Release a short version of it and a long version of it and call it a day.
Since the dawn of
time. And what is this fucking teaser that airs before the trailer? There's like a 5-second teaser of shit or 10-second teaser of shit, and then it's like, now the trailer for this fucking stupid movie.
Yeah, like it's got to show you a crazy cinematic scene, and then it just kind of leads into it.
What the fuck?
It's like
and I'm sitting here just like looking at it like,
yo. They're hooking you up with a pre-trailer, dude.
I just sit there and looking at it, I'm like, yo, bring back the fucking movie voice guy, because this shit is annoying right here.
Oh, the movie voice guy was the shit,
yeah,
man.
bring back that dude.
They haven't perfected the potion yet, though. So he's going to stay.
They need to bring back that dude because...
Or they just need to add Vin Scully. Vin Scully should just come out of retirement and just do that shit. Oh, he'd be great for fucking movies. Yeah, he'd be awesome. He'd let you know if the movie sucks, too. That's the problem. That's probably why he doesn't have a job.
But yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't know. Fuck Jurassic World.
You heard it here first.
And I am worried about the Joker just because of something that could happen like that.
Yeah,
where it's just.
I mean, I agree.
The only thing on the outside looking in that kind of salvages it for me. Well, there's 2 things. One is Joaquin Phoenix, that's part of it, and the other thing is the fact that it's a relatively small budget for.
And Scorsese kind of has his hand in it. He's not technically producing it, but
I don't think so.
But the woman that he runs a production company with is producing it. So it's tied to him. And he was originally supposed to produce it. But he bowed out because he had those other projects. Like
that's right. He was supposed to produce this. Yeah. That's true.
So that's why they're saying it might have a lot of like Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, King of Comedy type influence. Maybe.
We'll see. We'll definitely see.
Yeah. So
it's also being produced by Bradley Cooper, just a heads up.
There you guys go for all you fucking, what was it? A Star is Born fans. I think I watched A Star is Born at the Science Center in the IMAX.
What the fuck?
Yeah, a real star being born, not that fucking bullshit,
man.
Yeah, man. That's the only Star is Born I'm watching.
I have seen Inception at the Science Center IMAX. That was poppin'.
That's pretty cool that they did that. Yeah. That they did that. Wow.
That was tight. All right, let's switch gears here and get off the movies.
No more movies, you bums.
So, it's March Madness.
Oh, is it madness?
NCAA Sweet 16 is coming up in a couple days.
It's hot outside, too.
No, actually, we already ran through the Sweet 16, huh? We're already on to the next round, aren't we?
Honestly,
what do we have left? Where are we at left? NCAA tournament. But anyway, and Zion and Duke have completely taken over majority of the headlines. And another person that actually is taking a share of those headlines is Ja Morant out of Murray State. I think that he could easily go number 2, depending on who's picking number 2. I think that's more of what it comes down to than anything. I think Zion's the obvious number 1 pick.
Yeah, I think number 1's out the way. Zion is the extremely obvious number 1 pick.
My only thing is with Zion is I don't know if his body will be able to hold up. He's a really, really good player, and obviously athleticism has a big part to do with that.
Yeah.
So that is just one thing that I worry about. But honestly, if his athleticism holds up, he's like an all timer.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
he looks really good for 285.
Yeah, like
Like,
ridiculous.
what the fuck?
Like
Like, I
ridiculous.
didn't know anybody could hold 285
Right.
like that.
Exactly.
Like, if you were to guess what weight he was, what would you guess he weighed?
Looking at him, probably
Yeah.
265.
Yeah, something like around
Mhm.
there, right? Like I
20
was thinking
pounds
like a
less than what he
250.
is.
I was thinking like a 250 even.
I would
You
think
know what I
like
mean?
20 pounds less. Because
Yeah.
he looks like a big, swole dude.
Right. He looks like he's thick, but if he's 285, that means it's just pure. He's just ripped. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's just one of those random, rare, freakish athletes. Like, wasn't LeBron that at a time,
Yeah.
right? Right,
Yeah.
and we had never seen that before, right?
And I
So
think
we
the
have never
concerns-
seen this before.
I think
right?
the concerns were very similar too, but then also LeBron's style of play was very different as well. Because LeBron is a primary ball handler. He's a playmaker, along with the crazy athleticism for his size.
Right.
Right. Like those are. I mean, that's something that sets him apart. Right. Obviously, he's a great ball handler. He's a great distributor. He could score the ball. But what really set him apart was his size and his athleticism.
Right.
And then I guess you're kind of seeing that with Zion now too. He's a decent passer, but they play a different position and a style of basketball between them.
He's more above the rim than anything right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
The thing is, if he gets drafted, like if he were drafted today, he'd be the heaviest dude in the NBA.
Oh,
So-
for sure. LeBron would be close second, maybe. Not even?
No, I think
LeBron was at 280 at some point, though. I know he was.
I think Drummond is closest to him. Maybe somebody else.
Damn, Drummond does not look that big.
Maybe somebody else. I can't
But
remember.
he is very long, so
Yeah, Bron's like 260.
that makes sense. I'm thinking like 265.
Bron has gotten big and he's gotten smaller. He's gotten
Yeah.
down to like 250. One of those years when he was playing with the Heat when he first went on that keto diet. I think he got down to 250 and then you know what? Like as the season wore on, he realized he needed to get that strength back, like that weight back.
Oh, yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
No, and keto wears you out. Like it's not the most advisable diet for like someone who's extremely athletic or
Especially
competing.
someone
Yeah.
who's the best player in the world.
Yeah,
It's probably,
like hell
his,
no. Like
his diet should probably be a lot more.
his carbs should be carb rich. He
Yeah.
should be eating carbs all day because his
Right.
body's just gonna eat through that.
I think the thing was he was just trying to lose weight and
He
slim
was just
down.
trying to lean out quick.
I think
and that was a good way to do it.
it was more so not necessarily to lean out quick. It was just to lean out because I guess he felt like having a lighter body would give him a little bit more stability throughout the season, right? Because at that point is when he first joined Miami. I think it was the second season in Miami. So, he knew they were going to be going on long, deep runs in the playoffs for the next couple years, right? And that's a lot of games. They're talking over 100 games.
Yeah.
So I think
makes sense.
I think because of that,
It makes sense. to
yeah,
me.
I think he slimmed down, but then he realized, you know what? Like I'm not as strong as I was.
Yeah.
And that was one of his main strengths, no pun intended. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was one of his main strengths was his ability to not only outmuscle 1 through 4, right? He could guard 1 through 5, but outmuscle 1 through 4. But I think when he slimmed down a little bit, it kind of shrunk that gap.
He absolutely probably felt it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Once he hit a body, he was like, whoa, that
like,
didn't feel the same.
Right. So it's like, okay, I gotta get this back in gear, right? So that's why he kind of got bigger again. But Zion, I think that's just my only concern is just if the body can hold up.
Yeah, but at this point in like the NBA and the technology that they have and the trainers that they have and all of that, he can trim down very easily.
I mean, he could trim down. Yeah, I don't know if that's.
And
maybe the thing is like, maybe he's just gonna get bigger, right? Like
or maybe he just gets bigger.
like
that's
Charles
true.
Barkley, right? Like Barkley just ended up getting bigger. Obviously, Barkley kind of ate himself into getting bigger, but
Different times.
yeah.
I don't
But
think nutrition was emphasized.
but
as much.
Zion's only 18. He's gonna continue to
baby.
grow. He's
Yeah.
gonna continue to grow at least for another year or two, right? and probably up until he's 21, right? I think we stopped growing around 21 or so.
Yeah, I'm not sure,
like
but
average.
it's somewhere in
I think
there.
it's around that range. But so he's still gonna probably put on another inch, probably put on another 10 pounds. So I think those would be the concerns. I think if I'm drafting him, I think my concerns are just maintaining his body, maintaining his diet.
But those concerns aside, he's still hands down number one.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Like if that wasn't a worry to me, yeah. Then
Yeah. 100%. He's likely going to go to the Knicks, right? We can assume, of course.
I mean, I would assume based on
it's either going to be the Knicks or Phoenix. They're going to get close.
I would just assume just
winning that
because
lottery.
The NBA needs the Knicks to be good. I mean, the NBA is doing great financially and everything, but the NBA always does 10 times better than average when the Lakers and Celtics are good and when the Knicks are good. You know what I'm saying? So
I would think the Bulls too. No,
that was just 90s. That was just for the Jordan era. Nobody gives a fuck about the Bulls anymore.
Okay, that makes sense.
Nobody even cares.
That makes sense.
The only reason why New York is just because it's in New York.
Well, it's New York. It's this.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Lakers Celtics is obviously the biggest rivalry in the sport.
Ah, man.
So
the greatest.
So that's what that's what it is. So I think
Zion to New York.
I mean, honestly, man, if I'm the NBA, like I'm rigging that shit for New York. Dude, like Zion to New York, like it needs to happen.
But do you think New York is capable of not making the New York choice?
Oh,
and what
God.
If, and what if they go for like
if anybody
or they go for RJ?
If anybody mismanages the number one pick, it would more than likely be the Knicks.
Be New York, yeah.
But honestly, I don't even see them passing on Zion. I mean, it's too much of a
no, because it sells itself, and that market does need a Zion.
I mean, and it's not even that he's that much of a better player than anybody else. But it's more so of he's gonna bring that much attention.
But he's got flash and he's got flair,
and that's what New York.
And that's what New York needs. Yeah. Right? That's exactly what New York needs. Hell
the mecca of basketball, but they haven't won anything since the 70s.
But Zion
get the fuck out of
shows
here.
up, and
you know what I mean? They need to, get Zion. Hopefully, I mean, even if you got to trade up, let's say you land at 2, you trade up, you give away future assets to get.
Oh, but New York definitely won't do that.
Maybe.
I don't trust them.
Maybe. I mean, they got some good haul back from the trade with Dallas. So
with KP Porzingis.
Yeah, I think they got a first round pick back in that too. So, and if not, they just give up one of their futures or somebody else's that they got. But that's the thing right there is Zion to the Knicks for sure. And then I think
that's how I feel.
And then at 2, I think it's just gonna depend on who's there picking at 2. Like who's picking at 2.
Well, this is the crop right now that could likely pick at 2. Phoenix, which will most likely because it still has the closest worst record in New York. Cleveland, Chicago, and Atlanta.
God, I'd hate for him to any of these two
on
players to land. I'd hate for Zion to land on any one of those teams because oh my God.
Yeah, those teams are terrible. Like Zion needs New York as much as New York needs Zion. How about that?
The only team, man, honestly though, man, if Zion did land in Phoenix though.
Phoenix is interesting. I'll admit that. I was thinking about that. Phoenix does seem interesting.
And then even if he lands in Atlanta with Trey, that's popping too. But I think out of these 4, Phoenix. But I think if Phoenix lands 2, they're taking Ja.
You think?
Yeah, I think Phoenix takes Ja because they need a point guard.
Okay.
Phoenix because they got a big man. They got Devin Booker.
Yeah,
they got wings.
Booker, so
they need a point guard. They don't have a point guard. And Ja is actually a very, very good pick and roll guard.
Yeah.
And I think it would fit what they do over there very well.
It'll definitely
because they got DeAndre Ayton as their center, dude, beast.
So
and that's their missing link is really a point guard, star point guard.
Right, because then they could just play high pace, fast paced basketball, man.
Yeah, they can get it going. If Cleveland If Cleveland lands there, they're taking RJ, I would believe.
Why do you say that?
Well, because they got a point guard.
Yeah, but how do you feel about that point guard?
Solid.
You think he's solid?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Chicago is better than they play, for sure.
Wait, Chicago or Cleveland?
Oh, no, I'm talking about Chicago. Because I already said Cleveland's going to take RJ. I'm talking about Chicago.
Okay.
No, Cleveland, I mean, yeah, they could use a point guard, though.
That's what I'm saying. Cleveland's point guard sucks, because I was talking about Cleveland still, and I was like, Cleveland's point guard is trash.
Cleveland could use a point guard, but...
What's that youngster's name that's their point guard right now?
Fuck, I forget his fucking name. I really do.
He just has failed to impress.
Yeah.
If I was Cleveland, I'd take Ja in a minute.
Yeah, I think Cleveland would probably take RJ. Because I think they would just go and take the next best player. And in my opinion, the next best player is RJ.
I mean, that makes sense for a Cleveland move, I guess.
But then I also could see Cleveland moving their pick, too.
To what?
Just moving down in the draft and just acquiring maybe more picks or another player for next season.
And just kind of just taking it.
Well, yeah, because Colin Sexton, that's his name.
There you go.
Yeah, he's all right. You know what I mean? But I think the problem with point guards, if they're not like legit ready, they look terrible as rooks. They always do, because they got to go against it every night. Yeah. They got a prime matchup every night, dude. Like every night. They don't get a night off. Big men get nights off. Wing players get nights off sometimes, Not so much anymore, but for the most part, like guards, and it's on every night.
I feel like they struggle to make the adjustments based on the better defensive play too, because there's usually the smaller guys.
That's the thing.
You know what I mean? Naturally. So the change of pace of the game just kind of just shocks them for a little bit. I think it takes like a full year before you see some good point guard play out of those youngsters.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Easily. But you're exactly right. It makes sense because it's almost equivalent to, I mean, I hate to compare it to baseball, but it's almost equivalent to another unnoticed position in baseball, which is catcher, who's in on every play, right?
Right.
Like, that guy's getting worn down. At least the pitcher, once they're worn out, they get taken out, Catcher's just going in. So, I think it all just hits them too fast when they're point guards, and they also got to kind of learn the offense better than anybody else. An athletic guy that's playing a 2, a 3, or a 4 can get away with his athleticism. You know what I mean?
Right.
In failing to transition or move, you know what I mean, or cut, he's gonna make up for it. But
so out of Phoenix, Cleveland, Chicago, Atlanta, I only got Phoenix taking Ja.
Yeah, I agree.
I think everybody else would take RJ. Because Chicago got Chris Dunn as a point guard, so they don't need a point guard.
Which is fine.
Right. Atlanta got Trey. They don't need a point guard.
And Cleveland can just ride with Sexton, I guess. You're right. And just keep the development thing going on.
Right. And just see how that plays out. Because Sexton was a decent college player. It's not like he's a bum. You know what I mean?
Right. And that way they can already kind of get like this. They can get a shooting guard that's he's kind of an aggressive guy,
right? That
kind of contrasts what Love's already doing there, and Love can just shoot, right? Love can just do his little mid-range game.
But I could also see Cleveland going for Ja, just because, you know what, they see Sexton wasn't an instant hit, right? And they could easily just be like, you know what, we need like another Kyrie. Even though Ja isn't really like a Kyrie, he's more closer to like
he's like a Westbrook kind of.
Yeah, he's more like a Westbrook, but less explosive, a little bit smaller.
Well, he's still small, but he's already showing flashes.
And I think he might be a better shooter. Now, because Russ hasn't had a good year shooting. this year.
I feel like Russ sometimes gets away with looking like a better shooter than he is. I think
Maybe.
so. I think so.
But I think whoever gets RJ gets the come up of the draft.
I like RJ better too, but I think I like him just from a personal standpoint. I'm not even gonna lie.
Like,
I just like the way he plays better.
Depending on what team I am, I think at number 1, I'd even consider RJ at number 1. I would consider it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I would take him, but it wouldn't be surefire Zion for me. Even though he probably is the surefire.
And
I know it sounds stupid, but
well, this might sound crazy too, but RJ's a bigger boy than Zion, right?
I don't think so.
I don't know about height, but I have RJ listed as 202. Oh wait, fucking
yeah, what are you talking about? Zion's 285.
I totally slipped. Yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
285. Damn.
Yeah. So what are you talking about?
How tall is Zion though?
6'7"?
6'7"? Oh shit!
8
so
maybe?
they're pretty much about the same height.
Yeah. Because
Fuck.
RJ's like 6'6".
Yeah. Wow.
One interesting stat about Ja though is he has the 8th triple-double NCAA tournament history since they've been keeping track of points, rebounds, and assists,
Okay.
and is 13th all-time, or not all-time, but had the 13th triple-double, realistically.
God damn.
I believe. No, maybe more.
Yeah.
No, he's the 13th person to have a triple-double. My bad. He's the 13th person to have a triple-double. But let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 guys did it unofficially. So it was before they were recording assists, blocks, and steals.
Okay.
And you want to know some of the players?
Yeah. Shoot him.
All right. Starting with the officials. Actually, let me start with the unofficials since it was before. You got B.H. Bourne, right, in 1953.
No relation to Jason, though.
And then in 1959, twice in 1959, Oscar Robinson.
Okay. That
And then
makes sense.
twice in 1960, Oscar Robinson. And in 1971, Artis Gilmore.
Okay.
And then twice in 1979, Irvin Magic Johnson.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's unofficial. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Now here's the official guys. Gary Grant in 1987.
Okay.
Okay. Shaquille O'Neal, 1992.
Nice.
David Kane, 93. Andre Miller, 98. Andre was a
Okay,
pretty dope player.
okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
very serviceable. I think he was like Iron Man forever. Like he just
Yeah.
never missed the start or some
I
shit for a
remembered
long
him
time.
was he on the Sixers and he was on the Nuggets
Sixers
too,
and
right?
Nuggets, yeah.
Nice.
In 2003, D Wade did it.
Of course.
2009, here's a weird outlier. Cole Aldrich. Damn, 13 points, 20 boards, and 10 blocks. That's a nice stat line.
Hey,
But
man.
versus Dayton, okay.
Hey, sometimes man, you look really nice in college.
And then in 2011, Draymond Green.
Oh shit.
2012, Draymond Green again. And then finally in 2018, Ja Morant.
Okay.
And
So-
actually it's I guess it would actually be 2019 because he did it just now.
I mean, that's a nice group to be paired with, but it's also very random. It's also very random.
Not really. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 outliers out of 13. That means 9 of these guys are legit.
Yeah.
Or 8 if you don't count Ja.
Well, yeah. The proof was gonna be in the pudding because you still got to do the work,
Right.
but there's some funny ones in there. My point
Let's
is that
see.
there's the
1,
opportunity for
2, 3, 4, 5 NBA championship winners right here.
Did any of those that were like the outliers, were they in groups? Like, did it happen close to each other, or was it more spread out, kind of?
What do you mean?
Like,
Well, I mean, the outliers are like Cole Aldrich, David
yeah.
Kane, right? Gary Grant,
Yeah.
BH born, but that's a long time ago. So who knows?
No,
how
BH
dope.
born. Who knows? I've never
Right.
even heard of
That's
that.
1953. So
That
who
sounds
knows
like,
how
what the
dope that
fuck?
fool was? But
He was the
I
guy
just mean
doing
like
he was the guy doing the stats, I think. He
probably.
probably wasn't even playing.
That's what I'm saying.
He's like, I'm gonna write in my name. Mr. Bourne. Oh man, I'm part of NBA history now. This league will probably go defunct in like a year though.
NCAA history.
Oh, that's right. NCAA history.
But yeah,
The
so
shady
I
history
mean,
of the NCAA.
maybe Ja is an outlier. Maybe he's a Cole Aldrich, but I don't think so.
Well, he could be anything. It just all depends where he lands too.
I
It
think
depends on his support system.
Yeah,
On whichever
I think it just
team he lands
it depends
on.
where he goes.
You know?
That's gonna make a big difference too.
So, I think that's a big part of it. A lot of the times. So.
But yeah, I mean, I think RJ is the best player, like the best all-around basketball player.
I like RJ particularly because I just like how aggressive he is. I like that he's a contact player. So it's a throwback to me a little bit. A little bit.
And
not
then
all the way.
I mean, honestly, just his well-roundedness to me is just a big plus because he's only, what, 18, 19 years old?
Yeah,
And to play like that.
He's only 18 years old.
Yeah, to play like that is...
He's Canadian, by the way.
And he's a winner. Like, he'll score 26 points. You won't even realize he scored 26 points, but he'll have the game-winning rebound and putback. He'll have, a game-winning steal or something. Like, he's a winner. He's a winner. And sometimes it's like, that's all you need. Sometimes you don't need the best player or whatever, the most hyped guy. And it just happens to be that I think he is the best player and also a winner. So to me, it's a win-win when it comes to a guy like that. But if you have the number one pick, it's still a big question of whether you pass on Zion, who could possibly be a generational talent, for, RJ, who could also turn into the next Kobe kind of type of player. He has that mentality too.
No, he does have that mentality,
and
because that aggressiveness also shows on defense.
Right.
Like, he plays really good defense, and he's aggressive.
He tries.
He
tries hard.
He's like an old school in-your-face defender, you know?
And then I think a lot of that just comes from, like, his pops. His dad runs the Canadian Basketball Federation, so the guys who pick the Canadian basketball team.
Oh, okay.
Like, so his dad runs
for
that.
The national team stuff.
His godfather is two-time NBA MVP Steve Nash.
Oh, okay.
So his support system and
He's got pedigree.
I feel like wherever he can go anywhere and be successful, because off the court he has the best support system you could hope for an NBA player, right? You have family who's directly involved in the sport, maybe not in this country, but in the sport. You have a former two-time NBA MVP you could call at any second. You know what I'm saying? And just bend his ear for information and learn some shit.
It's like he's got an extra foot. He's got an extra foot in the door already.
Right.
Just to start right off the bat.
At 18, 19, dude.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's like...
I mean, and he's at Duke. He's going to be part of that family forever.
That too. You know it's like...
it doesn't matter. As opposed to Ja, at Murray State, which is not a knock on Murray State, but it's just Duke and Murray State. Come on, it speaks for itself.
Right.
So.
I mean, I think the biggest knock on Ja was the fact that he's at Murray State, and it's like, what competition has he faced? But now, in the tournament, he's showing that he could take over games.
No,
and he's a winner too. I'm not trying to take anything away from Ja at all. I'm just saying personal preference, my eye test. What I like to see from a player and what I want in their mentality, I think RJ just checks all the boxes. He's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the athleticism, he's got the mentality. He's a winner. He gets buckets. I mean, there's not much I see that he can't do.
Does he kind of remind you of Buddy Hield a little bit?
Kind of.
Right?
Kind of.
That's what I was thinking right now. Like, I just keep thinking Hield.
Like, when you watch him play, kind of.
Like, man.
But, like, obviously younger, a little bit bigger,
right?
And
he's gonna come into the NBA younger too,
right? Exactly. So I think the upside for RJ is probably the best in my opinion.
His ceiling's a lot higher.
I think
for sure.
For me, it's the highest. Like, because I'm trying to evaluate not just what I see on the court, but also off the court. And I mean, a lot of these players, they have great support system, great families, great mentors and et cetera, et cetera. But
Oh no, if you made it to the NBA, you've been playing good basketball. And
but
you've
my
been in
thing
some
is,
systems,
if
for
you
sure.
have a 2-time NBA MVP in your corner, like that's basically your family.
Right.
Like that, like just the insight that you can get from that, like just how to approach just simple things like training, nutrition. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like all
right.
these things, he'll have that leg up coming in. So for me,
He's probably been in some real gyms, you know what I mean?
Of course.
Some
So, like,
world-class stuff.
and then he's won at every level. He won in the like the Canadian for the Canadian team, the under 18 team. They won like the under 18 World Cup or something like that, like one of those basketball tournaments.
You know what? And if I was running an NBA team, you know what? If your college coach was Coach K, I want you on my team.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
to an extent,
to an extent. But then if you're not just that, but like if you're a guy that Coach K absolutely drools over in interviews, when they ask, I've never seen Coach K like act like this. Like
a little shook, maybe.
Like he acts like he's like got a crush almost. You know what I mean? Like, and because he sees it too. And one thing that I seen from an interview from Coach K was he. They asked him about RJ and they're asking about Zion, and what he was saying about RJ is like, man, like, when Zion's gone down, he's become much more vocal as a leader. He's stepped up to the plate. He's like, I've never seen anyone that like really can pick up things. You coach to them, you teach them something, and they pick it up right away.
He wants it.
He's like, out of a lot, he's like, I've coached a lot of players, and one thing I can tell you for sure is this guy is gonna be a all-star sooner rather than later, for sure. And like, I mean, Coach K, he's coached the Redeem team. He's got Olympic gold medals. Like,
he speaks for itself. But
I mean, he's coached some of the best players ever to play the game, literally.
Yeah,
like,
Coach K.
Literally,
like you would just take that as a blessing from
right.
Coach K.
Just
like,
to hear
moving
some
on
shit.
to the
And
next level, like,
you never hear Coach K like shoot that much praise, especially for a freshman.
Yeah.
Maybe for a 4-year guy who's done it all for them, right? Yeah, he's been here forever. He's just a great leader in the locker room, blah, blah, blah. But, nah, this dude is fucking 18-year-old, dropping like 26 points a game, cooking.
That makes me wonder, like, when the NCAA goes to shit, do you think Coach K moves to the NBA?
No, I think Coach K retires when he's done.
done.
I think when he's done, he's done. I don't think there's no reason for him. There's nothing for him to prove. That's for sure. I don't ever feel like he'd be in question of if he's a great coach just because he didn't coach the NBA.
All right, well,
we got gold medals.
In the brackets, we're in the Elite Eight. And I know you haven't been watching, but just tell me who you think would win just based off of I'm going to give you the names of the matchups.
Okay.
And just give me who you think would win.
Of each matchup?
Yeah, of each matchup. Okay. Fuck it. You know what I mean? 4 matchups. So, Virginia versus Oregon. Who'd you take in that?
I'll take Virginia.
Virginia. Okay.
Because Oregon doesn't got Bobo back. Bobo.
Bobo, man. Dude, I see you, man.
They don't got Bobo back. So
that's a good one. All right, next matchup. Purdue versus Tennessee. That one's a little tougher. Do you want me to give you the seeds? Where they seed?
No.
You don't?
Because
okay.
that doesn't matter. That doesn't even matter anymore.
No, it doesn't matter, but I just was asking to see if you'd like it. Some people prefer it.
What'd you say, Purdue?
Purdue and Tennessee.
I'll take Purdue in that.
Okay. Purdue. All right. This is a good one. Michigan State versus LSU.
Ooh.
Yeah, buddy. I actually want to watch that game.
I'll say Michigan State.
Okay.
Izzo. For Shizzo.
Well, okay. That makes sense. And, I mean, you know what's left. Duke versus Virginia Tech. Oh, man.
Virginia Tech.
Oh,
no, I'm just playing.
You heard it here first. No, it's immortalized right here.
I mean, it's the tournament, man. Anything can happen.
No, anything can happen, but based on those predictions, the Final Four will be Virginia versus Purdue and Michigan State versus Duke. Oh,
yeah, I'll take that.
Michigan State versus Duke would be nice.
And then even in that, I'll pick that too. We'll just pick it all the way to the end and fuck it.
Yeah.
So
Virginia versus Purdue. Who do you got?
I'll take Virginia.
Okay. And Duke versus Michigan State. Oh, boy.
Duke got 5 NBA players on their team. Yo, and that's one thing that, for reals though, like, you need to watch a Duke game for reals because their point guard, Tyus Jones, and Cam Reddish, the small forward, bruh, they are fire too. But just like if Zion and RJ weren't there, we'd be talking about them two from there. Okay. Like Cam Reddish might be the best like one-on-one defender.
Okay.
He might be the best 3-and-D guy.
I'm definitely going to watch this round. This is about the rounds when I start watching.
He might be the best 3-and-D guy. Tyus Jones is probably the best on-ball defender in NCAA, period.
Yeah, no. I'll watch Duke versus Virginia Tech.
He's a very good passer.
But to just make sure we got your brackets right so we can revisit this. you have Virginia beating Oregon.
Yep.
You have Purdue beating Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
You have Michigan State beating LSU.
Yep.
And you have Duke beating Virginia Tech.
Nah, man, Virginia Tech. No, yeah, of course, dude.
And so out of those matchups, Virginia versus Purdue, you have Virginia moving on to the final.
Mm-hmm.
And between Michigan State and Duke, you have Duke moving on to the final. So Virginia and Duke is Nate's final answer.
Yeah, and then Duke is be the national champions.
Duke.
I mean, Duke got to be the favorite anyway. That's the only problem. But I'm just basing it on the talent that they have. I mean, sure, they could get beat.
No, anybody can get beat. It's a tournament. But
and then it's not like Duke is undefeated. They lost already this year, too. Sometimes the buckets just don't drop. I feel it.
Michigan State would be the team to beat them if anybody's going to beat them.
Probably.
If anybody's going to beat them.
Probably.
I don't know about LSU because I don't, yeah. But, yeah, okay. That's interesting.
Damn, I legit. Oh, I was going to say. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. 2 number 1 seeds.
That is interesting. That's actually an interesting thing. So, yeah.
Did, over the weekend, I was at work, but while I was at work, there was a little Liverpool game happening at Anfield. That's weird. Because they're on international break. How'd that happen?
That was the best game that I've seen all year.
Oh, ever for Liverpool.
Hands down, all year.
Oh, man. So, explain.
It was the best game. Well, as some of you may know, I became a Liverpool fan less than a year ago. Actually, I became a football fan less than a year ago in general. And
English football.
World football, whatever.
World football, yeah.
Not pigskin. And so like I haven't been around for a long time, but I do know the history. I mean, I know about, the Champions League victories and I know a lot about the history. I went through it all.
You're basically a new Liverpool
fan. But I'm very new. You're a rook. Yeah, very new.
You're rooked out.
And it was kind of cool because I got to see that basically that 2005 Champions League team, Liverpool team versus a 2005-ish AC Milan team. It was basically Liverpool legends versus AC Milan legends. Majority of the players on each team were from that era, the early 2000 era.
Yeah.
Some were from before, some were from a little after,
right.
But generally from both teams, majority of the players came from that little era.
And they chose Milan to kind of commemorate that 2005 Champions League win.
Yeah.
And it was for LFC's official foundation, right?
Yeah, it was actually a charity game.
Yeah, it was a charity game.
And it was for the LFC Foundation, which is actually pretty dope. They were running like little ads of what they actually do with it, so you can kind of see.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was cool because it wasn't just for like
for kids in their money.
No, I'm saying it wasn't just for their kids in their academy. It was for like, like troubled youth and people with learning disorders and like, disabilities and all these things.
Right.
And like that's what they're doing Like they're going in and
And
helping
for
these
kids
kids
in the community.
Right. So there's
Okay.
like for one example, there was a kid in the community, like, you know, who was kind of in the streets or whatever, I guess, and they brought him in, and now like he's part of like not the academy, but like he plays in little games that they organize, the
Like
foundation
little
organized.
pickup games.
Yeah,
and
that the
stuff like that.
foundation
Yeah.
organizes
That's cool.
and all that, and then because of that, he's been able, like, you know, he's had social anxiety issues and stuff like that. Because of that, you know, he was able to make friends. You know, he's much more vocal, talkative.
Like it's built some confidence.
It has
in
built his
him,
confidence.
you know.
That's what the one of the trainers was saying. He's like, yeah, it's really built his confidence.
That's
And
good,
now
yeah.
he's actually shown interest in continuing like his life in football, but not necessarily to play. Like he wants to go to university and become like a physio, like a
Okay.
trainer and shit like that. So,
He
you know,
he wants to be in the industry, but as you know,
yeah, not necessarily a player, but just
Right.
part of the mix, you know,
Right,
part of the
right.
team that makes it all happen, right?
that's actually pretty cool because
And I was
a
like,
lot
yo,
of people
that-
don't think about that.
Yeah, that's
you
what
know
I
what
thought too. I was like, man, that's actually a really
a
good
lot of people
story.
like. I wish I would have thought about that when I was young. Like, man, you know what? I can't make it to the NFL. You know what I mean? Because I just don't have the athleticism and the size. But like, man, maybe I could work as like a trainer in there and be
Or
in the
a
mix,
scout or
yeah, or a
something, right?
scout,
Yeah,
or
of course.
damn, see,
right? So I thought
would've
that
been
was
a
really
great
cool. And then like
idea.
they showed another one of like this girl who has actually like pretty fire at soccer, like or football. She's like she was nutmegging dudes and like
Oh,
doing
yeah,
spins, like
she's-
because they're playing like co-ed like kid game, you know.
yeah.
And she was cooking, so I'm like, damn, like so she, you know, she was like, yeah, like I want to actually play like for the women's team and shit
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So
she's
it's
ready
like,
for the step up and
yeah,
and
like,
she's
I mean, she's
into
like
it.
a little girl, but
No,
like
no,
that's
no, but
that was
she's
her
already
dream,
into
right?
it.
Yeah,
Like
she's
sometimes you just see kids that are just naturals. Like
and then yeah,
I've experienced that with my son.
yeah,
like,
she's
man.
just she just got some skills. So like it was cool that they're showing, and they were showing like a bunch of other things, like how they go to schools or how they go to hospitals and like they do shit with like for the patients, like not
Right.
just visit them, but like actually like hook them up with shit or whatever. You
Right,
know? So
right.
they're actually really out there in the community, like really doing it. And
I mean, that just makes that game all the better. You know what I
Right.
mean? On top of it just being just
right,
all these legends showing up. And what's nice that I was looking into about it was that like all these guys, a lot of these legends from both teams made the time to go out there. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's something that's rare amongst a lot of these older sports stars. Usually they're
true.
just like, man, fuck that. I'm retired. I left that shit a long time ago, and I want it right there where I left it. You know what I mean?
yeah. And then like for the game itself, the game itself was actually entertaining. Very,
didn't get to
very,
watch it,
very
but-
entertaining.
You were texting me
Um,
back and forth, and it seemed like you were having a blast watching the game.
I guess because you know they're older, right? They're in their early 40s to 50s, right?
Right.
And
Most of them.
some of them even in their 60s,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, they're definitely older dudes, but it took them about 20 minutes, I'd say, to get warmed up. Everybody got warmed up. Because for the first 20 minutes, you could see, like, it wasn't that the passes weren't on point. It's like, but the passes would have been on point 10 years ago.
Oh, of
right?
course, of course.
So, like, for anybody that doesn't understand, like, it's not that their timing wasn't there. Like, you could see that the move they make and then they make the pass following the move. You're like, okay, like if they were playing basically at full speed, that would have connected and they could have made a run on that. But in this case, they're a bunch of old dudes, so they're not as quick.
What really wasn't there is their touch. They hadn't adjusted it. You know what I
it
mean?
just wasn't.
You need to adjust your touch.
It just wasn't adjusted.
And because they were used to
Right.
playing the old way, so they're just like, I'm gonna boot this so he could chase it down.
But after about 20 minutes, like everything tightened up. Like all the passes, like you could tell they all finally got into that rhythm. They all got their timing
Sometimes
matched
you just
up.
gotta warm up.
It took them time, you know. It took them a little longer. Plus they didn't have like full trainings with each other, so it was kind of they were playing on memory.
No, this is just a straight Legends pickup game.
Right, and for the
That's
most part, they're
exactly what it
playing
is.
like on memory. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what it was.
Until they warmed up, and then once they warmed up, man, like it was just like it was really beautiful football from just a bunch of old dudes, because like you would see like these 30, 40-yard passes from Gerard, like on the button. Like you couldn't even, like, there's not dudes out there doing that shit right now type shit. You know what I'm saying? You see Pirlo curl the ball right over the top of the wall into goal. Yeah. Like,
I heard Dirk Kuyt was putting on a little bit of a show too.
Everybody put on a show. I mean, it was
Inzaghi was doing some magical things. Pirlo's just incredible. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It was
and what's funny is most of these guys are managers in different leagues too.
Yeah, or they work with different leagues, or some of them are just retired chilling. Because I remember some of the dudes they talked to was like, yo, like, when was the last time like you played in a full style game?
Yeah.
It was like like over a year ago.
Pirlo
like
was in MLS what, like 2 years ago?
A year or two ago, yeah.
Inzaghi hasn't played in years. I mean, I think he's the manager of Lazio, if I'm not mistaken.
Shit, I don't know. But
he's great.
So that's why I'm like, man, like, it was actually really fun to watch, honestly. And then, you know, so Liverpool went up 2 goals, and it was like 2-0. So you're like, oh man, it's just, they're probably just gonna cupcake the rest of the way. But then in the second half, like, Italy finally turned it on. I don't know what Ancelotti said to them in the fucking locker room, but they came out second half ready to go, and within you know, very short time, actually tied it back up. So it was 2-2. And then it's coming down into the 79th minute. And Liverpool kind of going to run. Gerrard gets the ball. And he's just right outside the box. And he shakes 3 dudes and fucking puts it right in the corner of the goal. And fucking that's it.
Yeah, he looked so funny setting that up, though.
Yeah, I mean, it just looked old and slow. But the guys playing defense looked old and slow, too.
Oh,
so it all matched perfectly.
No, I think that's what's funny about it. Even funnier. Right. Yeah, because it was just like, oh, hell no, he's not making those moves happen. This old wooden boy. He looked like Pinocchio out there.
Yeah, and then he
just curled it.
Yeah.
But
and of course it's like Gerrard hits the game winner against Milan.
He took his little lap. He took his little lap and shit.
Of course.
Oh man.
I mean, you couldn't even write that kind of shit any better.
That Pancaro goal was pretty sick.
Yeah.
When I saw the highlights, that was crazy.
Yeah, he wrapped that thing in there.
Yeah, that was. These goals were not just dummy goals.
I was about to say, every single goal that was scored was a high level score.
Yeah.
Every single goal that scored it wasn't like a cupcake goal. It wasn't like some shit you would see in a Sunday league. Even.
Yeah, Pirlo hit like top shelf.
Like, dude, Pirlo put in like a fucking Puskas level goal.
Yeah, that shit was
You know what I'm
crazy.
saying? Like, and then the other homie whipped
Pancaro,
that shit. Yeah, whipped that
Pancaro
shit in.
Whipped it around the goalie. He had no chance. He didn't even see it curling around him.
And then Cisse's goal where he broke free past the back line and was 1-on-1 with the goalie and put it.
Cisse could still come off somebody's bench.
Well, he's still playing. He's still playing in France. Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah,
he's still playing.
That makes sense.
And he just put it by the goalkeeper. Like, I mean, he was 1-on-1, 5 yards away, and put it right by him by like 5 inches, like real close to the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper didn't even get a touch on it, just right by him. And then
beautiful goal.
Who scored the other goal?
Who scored the first one? I think that's what we're blanking on. The first goal?
Oh, it's drawing.
Oh, Robbie Fowler.
Oh, that's right. Fucking beer belly flopping.
Because he's got his nice little beer belly, but he's still out there cooking.
Yo, hey, that was a nice touch on that goal too. That was a nice touch because I can't remember who swung that in, but somebody lobbed in a cross. It wasn't even really a cross. It was more of just like a lob from the sideline, and yeah, he just put one touch on it and went right in goal.
I heard that Danny Agger didn't look too bad either. I mean, he's not even that far removed from playing.
Yeah, he looks like he could still.
Liverpool.
He looks like he could still play.
Yeah, he could probably come off a bench in some league.
Yeah,
for sure.
He probably could.
For sure.
Yeah. Fool's tatted up.
Oh, he's always been tatted up like that.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's always been tatted up like that. Sleeved
up. He
up.
looks straight out of Sons of Anarchy and shit.
Yeah. He looks like he rode his bike in. Like his whole legs are
He was probably extra remember when Sons of Anarchy went to Ireland and shit? He probably popped up as an extra over there, like, "What's up, mate?"
From the Agger clan. Oh man.
But yeah, I mean that was a really great game, and I'm actually excited to see Liverpool, actually the real team, get it back in motion this week.
Who do they got this week?
Hopefully someone we just eat up. It's probably like Chelsea.
Oh, Hotspur.
Oh, Tottenham.
Holy shit, but it's at Anfield. But still, Tottenham is no fucking cupcake.
Tottenham's not going to be an easy one. But, you know what? They're all coming off a break for the most part.
Yeah, but Man City gets Fulham.
Of course.
They could easily wrap 6 around Fulham.
Of course.
Oh, man. Fuck.
Of course. I mean, we're not gonna catch them on goal difference. We gotta just beat them straight out.
No. We just can't. We gotta go undefeated. The moment we lose, the title is over.
Yeah,
the title race is done.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of where we're at today, is that it can end today, in terms of like, or whenever the next game is. You know what I mean?
What can also end today is Big Baller Brand.
Big Baller Brand is done. I heard, man. Dunsies.
Pretty much about to be done.
Yeah, no, Big Baller Brand's done. Lonzo's out. He said he flew the coop.
Shout out to Lonzo Ball's money manager.
Oh, man, Zozo.
Shout out to him for actually realizing the money was missing.
He's the one that realized the money was missing?
The money.
How'd that go down?
No, the money manager, I can't remember his name right now, but I tweeted about it on our page, on our Instagram or on our Twitter. But the money manager found this shit out, and he sent them emails and messages saying, "Hey, like, I'm trying to put together all the taxes and all this shit and get it all tax season, right? I'm trying to get all this shit done, and
tax season,
and I can't account for 1.5 million. And the only two people that had access to those accounts was Lonzo and Alan Foster, the co-founder of Big Baller Brand.
Big Baller Brand,
right? So because of that, I don't know if at first or what, but Lonzo and LeVar, they were just either ignoring it or not paying attention to it or brushing it off, like if it was nothing, like just a misunderstanding or something. And the money manager was like, yo, like, no, where the fuck is this money?
Yeah.
Like, if I ever get rich, I need this money manager for sure, dude. Because anyone that comes at you and tells you where the fuck is your money at, that he's looking out for you.
Of course.
100, right?
But I feel like that's what every money manager should do.
You would hope so. You would hope so. But
like, what the fuck? You can't just
no, but
tell
I
them,
want
that's just,
I want someone to tell me straight up like that, like where the fuck is the money at? Not, hey, we're missing some money. I want someone straight the fuck
Sam
up.
Jackson.
Pretty much, essentially, right? Nah, I need this dude. Where I can't remember his name. H2 something. I know on Twitter it's H2 something. But anyway, since Lonzo and LeVar didn't really put in any effort on that end, this dude was like, well, I'm gonna drop you as a client because like I'm not trying to be involved with any kind of weird shit basically or anything. Like, you guys aren't listening to my advice. Like, what the fuck is the point of me working with y'all, right? Like,
okay.
Right? So like it took that
a little
right. It took that for them to
dynamic
be like, yo, wait, what the fuck really is going on, right?
Yeah.
So come to find out, this Alan Foster dude, when he first met LeVar, he was recently out of jail, and he was in jail for I think 7 years for like committing fraud, and he was specifically specifically defrauding African Americans that he met like through churches and church groups and shit like that, like legit defrauding them. So yeah, he did like 7 years, had to pay like whatever restitution and shit, and then he got out, and then he met LeVar, and then Lonzo and them were still in high school I think at the time. So that's what he was, kind of the voice in LeVar's ear to create Big Baller Brand and do all this and that, and then I
guess that makes sense, and of course LeVar would listen.
Yeah,
like, yeah, man, let's get that money. Let's get that money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And so at the end of the day, like, come to find out that Lonzo didn't take that 1.5 out the bank. The only other person that had access was Alan Foster, and he kept giving the runaround or some kind of weird explanation for different things, and had no. And since the money was pulled out in cash, right? Like it was pulled out of the bank, right, in cash. Like it wasn't like he wrote checks that ended up equaling 1.5 and they just can't find the checks or whatever, right?
Right.
It was he pulled out 1.5, I guess over time, probably not all at once, but over time pulled out 1.5 in cash, and that there's no receipts for that money.
That's
there's
crazy.
no nothing for that money. So and then because of that, you know, Lonzo is deciding to move on from Big Baller Brand, which he actually owns 51% of. So if the guy owning 51% moving on, it's a good indication that might be shutting down. And from what it looks like, based on his Twitter post and all the speculation surrounding the Lakers right now, is that he'll probably end up signing with Nike.
I mean, it's just...
And I'm pretty sure he's not going to get anywhere near that $1 billion that LeVar
I think
was
there's a misconception too that LeVar had a majority in Big Baller Brand. I was part of that mix too. I
did
thought,
too.
I thought that LeVar had a big stake in it because he was.
I thought
out
it was
there
his
promoting
shit.
it.
I thought he had 51 and everybody else had a little baby
me too.
chunk.
I thought it was his thing.
But it makes
and
sense
he had
because who funded it?
jump along. Yeah.
Who got money? The only person who making money is
Zoe.
Yeah. So he's the only one that could have funded it.
That's so stupid. And to me, it's stupid because the guy, if he gets away with 1.5 million, right?
And then LeVar was supposed to just be the talker, and the dude that got away with the money, he was supposed to just manage the business and run the everyday part of the business. Like that includes the shipping.
But
that
this is
includes
how
all
much crazier that is to me. It's like, okay, what are you thinking, dude? Like, you're going to get away with 1.5, maybe 2 million. Maybe if you keep getting away with this, you might get away with 5 million and just run away if you get too greedy. But probably if you get too greedy, you're going to get caught anyway, which is what happened. But you have Melo coming up. You have the backing of this whole family. You could have made millions with these guys
just
for
off top,
a long
without
time.
stealing.
For a long
without
time.
stealing,
yeah,
though.
No.
Without stealing.
Exactly.
That's what's even crazy about it.
You would have made tens of millions.
You had a breadwinner.
Maybe even hundreds.
You had a breadwinner right there that you just gave
chased
up
because you wanted that fast
cash.
money.
Yeah. You want that quick cash.
Hey, fast money don't last, baby. Yeah. That's what they say. So, what an idiot. But it makes sense. I mean, look at his background, right? He was probably just like, I shouldn't be around this
that's
for too long.
shady ass dude, man. That's going and taking advantage of people from church that he meets at church and shit. That's a shady ass fucking dude.
No, you're just rotten from the core.
Yeah, that's
and you're just gonna keep doing
dude.
this shit.
Yeah,
it's
of
just
course.
this is a cycle. It's a vicious
who you
cycle
are.
you're going
who
through.
You are.
What
you
a
need
fucking
help,
moron.
homie.
No relation to Arian Foster?
I hope not. I doubt that too. But Alan Foster, I know you probably never listen to this shit, but you need help, homie. You need to stop stealing from people.
Yeah, don't
go
steal.
get a fucking real job, you fucking crook.
You could have been rich.
You fucking bum.
You would have been set for the rest of your life. Oh man.
Piece of fucking shit. But anyway, that wraps up episode 14 of
on Fuck Alan Foster.
Yeah, Fuck Alan Foster. Episode Fuck Alan Foster. Shout out to Zoe for becoming his own man. Shout out to you listeners for shout out to you listeners for listening to us and following all our social medias and interacting with us. We super appreciate it.
And, stay tuned.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the little red button down below the video. Subscribe and the little bell notification next to it. And the little bell icon next to it so you get the notifications every time we drop a video. Make sure you follow us on all our social media, which is pretty universal. WDKS Podcast. Everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So, I guess all that's left to be said is...
Peace. Lay.